Hello, Chattanooga. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, noogaradio.com, 92.7 FM. Sport Talk with Sam Jordan. Keon Rose filling in for Sam Jordan. We'll be doing so for the rest of this week. Sam Jordan is taking care of some administrative duties. Personally, I think he's just at home on his couch, eating potato chips and watching TV. That's just me, though. I have no proof of this. That's just a guess. So we have the NFL draft coming up. And so the draft combine happened over the weekend. And one of the things I didn't get to talk about with the draft combine was one Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen is my favorite, most intriguing player in this draft because Josh Rosen presents the greatest talk radio storyline. He's a quarterback. He's a guy that's talented, but inconsistent. So he brings you that level of is he good or is he not good that makes talk radio really, really go. Because that's really when we talk about guys in talk radio. We don't really talk about guys when they're great. Because at some point you just praise the person so much. Like this is the problem that if you have a problem with Colin Cowherd's show, it's that Colin Cowherd talks about LeBron every single day because LeBron's great. But we get to a point where we all know LeBron's great. You can't talk about LeBron every single day of your existence. You just get to a point listening to the guy where you're just like, you know what? Just go marry him already. I mean, just move into his house. Just say, hey, LeBron, can you adopt me as your third son? I'll be very quiet. I live very far away from you in the mansion. It just gets exhausting. So yeah, the talk radio works at its best when there is a person, not who is great and certainly not who is terrible, but when there is a person that we can't agree on whether or not that person is good. We had this for years with Tony Romo. Tony Romo has all the stats you could ever want, except for, oh no, Tony Romo will throw the interception that will kill your team at the end of a game. And the question was always, is Romo good or not? I don't know. Now, I always was on the side of like Romo is great. I mean, you look at those numbers and you look at the fact that the Cowboys were a terrible football team when they didn't have him. You have to look at the fact and go, the only reason why they were even in some of those games that he could throw away in the first place was he was there to begin with. But that conversation was always a fun conversation. And Jay Cutler is the other one. Jay Cutler got a lot of flack, I think, because of his personality. But Jay Cutler also got a lot of flack because in his career, even now with the Miami Dolphins, I believe Jay Cutler has thrown as many touchdowns as interceptions. So you have, is this guy even good at football? Some people would say yes. Some people would say no. I think if you have a brain that functions, you would say no. But there's an actual debate to be had there. Because it's not like Jay Cutler never took the Bears anywhere. He didn't take the Dolphins anywhere, but he had some good seasons with the Bears. There was an NFC title game where Jay Cutler got injured and simply could not come into the game. And we were wondering, does Jay Cutler want it enough? And Jay Cutler, because of his personality, which is to say that he is a porcupine, he is a human porcupine. You don't want to get anywhere near him because he's trying to sting you. Jay Cutler didn't do himself any favors. And so we're looking at Josh Rosen, and I was reading a piece on CBSSports.com on their NFL page. The Josh Rosen, and I believe it's the Jason Lockenfora piece, but the Josh Rosen is a mix between Jay Cutler and Jeff George. And I cannot think of a worse combination of people to be compared to than those two people, right? And this is a character thing. We're not even talking about the skills of Josh Rosen. But Josh Rosen, if he doesn't come out into the NFL and is immediately successful, we will be having this conversation with Josh Rosen of, is Josh Rosen a good quarterback or a bad quarterback? Because we're talking about Josh Rosen's personality right now. And to me, the only reason why your personality becomes a factor is if we're not sure whether or not you're good. Or if you're bad. Because if you're great, we don't really care what your personality is. Jay Cutler is a guy that he's got a face that he doesn't smile a lot and he seems like a grump. And we worry about Jay Cutler. We do. But Jay Cutler was also a mediocre middle-of-the-road quarterback. Aaron Rodgers has a very similar personality to Jay Cutler. He does, right? He's kind of prickly. He's very sarcastic. I remember when Russell Wilson thanked God after the Seahawks beat the Packers, which I think is ridiculous. Like, God does not pick a side in your football game. Stop it. But and Aaron Rodgers made fun of him in a very backhanded, sarcastic kind of way. This is the kind of thing that he does, and he gets away with it because Aaron Rodgers might be one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. And you can't watch him and not think that. You just can't. The Packers, as constructed, not a championship team, and yet every season that Aaron Rodgers is healthy, we consider the Packers to be a contender. That's how much he means that team. Right? Like, he's got this personality that you really don't like. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not a likable guy. No one ever said, oh, look, Aaron Rodgers, such a swell human being. Like, maybe he's a good person, but certainly as far as his interactions with the media and sometimes his interactions with other fans and other players, it ain't great. We let people who are great get away with having a bad personality. And so the issue here with Josh Rosen is Josh Rosen's got that personality. He threw some balls in the combine that got away from him a little bit. They were asking him about it. And Josh Rosen could have answered these questions with grace and dignity and instead chose not to and gave just prickly answers all the time, which I'm a fan of, by the way. I like the contentious, grouchy interview. That is more interesting for my job. You know what's boring? Nice. Nice is boring. It's boring. Bryce Harper is fun. Mike Trout is not fun. Mike Trout might be a better baseball player than Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's the guy we care about because Bryce isn't boring. He's got a personality, and it's a mean personality, right? Or at least a contentious personality and a disagreeable one, but it's something. Right? And look, if you're a humble guy, and Mike Trout is, Mike Trout's no phony. If you're a humble guy, keep being humble. There is no downside to being a good person. But so far as the media is concerned, you're not interesting. Like, we're interested in what you do now, but I can't do a whole radio segment on Mike Trout, the guy. I could have a show about Bryce Harper. He's a very disagreeable person. Those people make things interesting. So like Josh Rosen is a disagreeable guy. He's very outspoken. He's highly intelligent, politically minded. He's not a Trump guy, right? Like, he really, really doesn't like Donald Trump. And there's a moment where Josh Rosen, he went to UCLA. So this is not shocking, but Josh Rosen's got enough money to find himself on a Donald Trump golf course. And so Josh Rosen was playing golf on a Donald Trump golf course, wearing a hat that said bleep Trump, right? And so that is the kind of guy that we're dealing with. Like, Josh Rosen is not a nice guy at all. And if he's a middle of the road kind of guy, like Jay Cutler was, we're going to be having conversations about Josh Rosen very, very often, asking ourselves, is Josh Rosen a good quarterback or is he not a good quarterback, right? Because if Josh Rosen is great, if he comes out and he's everything that's advertised, and by the way, this very politically minded young man could find himself in New York City. The Giants need somebody to replace Eli Manning, who is looking older and older by the second. Yeah, Josh Rosen might wind up in the Big Apple with his highly controversial political opinions, and NFL scouts are wary and afraid of Josh Rosen, as they should be. Scouts don't like that kind of thing. Scouts like a guy that's nice in the conventional way, and they want a guy that's humble, but they want a guy that's confident. NFL scouts remind me of women that want like the perfect guy, right? Like they want this guy that can stand up for them, but also he likes puppies, but also he's got a great job, but also that job provides him with a lot of time to just hang out. I mean, it gets to be like there's a whole lot of things that are conflicting there, and maybe you can find that dude. It's just not as likely as you would like. And NFL scouts are exactly like this. Like when they review players, they want a guy that is aggressive on the field, but not so aggressive that he'll get penalties. But they also want a guy that's got a little bit of edge to him, can step up and be vocal in the locker room, but not so much edge that he's got his own opinions and that he thinks for himself. I don't know if you can have a guy that is all of those things. Very rarely is that human existing. The only person I can think of that was pretty much like that is like Ray Lewis. Because Ray Lewis, aggressive, right? But Ray Lewis wasn't picking up penalties. The Ray Lewis, loud, locker room voice. But Ray Lewis doesn't have real opinions. Right? Like Ray Lewis talks a lot, but he doesn't have real opinions. He just says really nice motivational things. And so, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Ray Lewis. But I just, he's the guy that scouts look for when scouts look for a guy. Josh Rosen is one of those guys. It's going to be a gamble with him. Josh Rosen believes that he's got a platform and he's got to use his platform. And I believe that too. I believe that if you are given a platform, I think if you're blessed enough to be able to stand in a position where you can change the world for the better. And we don't all agree on what that is. But if you're in a position where you can, I think that you're obligated to do so. I think that you're obligated to talk and speak up and tell the truth. You have to. It's the only way society gets any better. Even if we all disagree, we can respect each other and respect our opinions. I think that's perfectly fair. And I think it makes a ton of sense. So I don't have any problems with Josh Rosen personally. But I think that maybe the greater NFL community at large will. But if Josh Rosen is good, we're all just going to have to shut up and like sit here and just listen to him talk. Like we're going to have to hear him talk. And I can't even imagine what conservatives are going to think about Josh Rosen. He's very lefty. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com, 92.7 FM. Josh Rosen, man. Sport Talk with Sam Jordan. Keon Rose filling in for Sam Jordan. So Serena Williams is now officially a working mom. But her job is different than your job. Serena Williams plays tennis for a living. And oh yeah, Serena Williams is the greatest women's tennis player of all time and is at least in the conversation for greatest tennis player ever. Ever. Drop the women's from that. She's just in that conversation for greatest tennis player ever. Right? Now, John McEnroe had his controversial comments, I think last summer or the summer before, where he said that in his book that came out, he said that, Serena Williams couldn't beat a male tennis player. I think that Serena Williams could beat many male tennis players. I don't know if Serena Williams is beating the guys that are the best to ever do it. Like, I don't know that Serena Williams is going to be beating Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal in their prime, right? Like, you match Serena in her prime up against Federer in his prime. I don't think that Serena wins. I think Federer beats her in straight sets. But she gets to be in the conversation of greatest tennis player of all time because she is that amazing, right? She is that powerful of a tennis player, and she is that skilled of a tennis player as well. Serena Williams has a baby. And I don't know if we've had an athlete, a women's athlete of Serena Williams' caliber as a mom at the point in her career where she can still dominate, right? And how does this affect her? I don't know. Like, I just think it's an interesting conversation to have. Like, I'm not going to stand here and suggest that somehow Serena Williams is going to lose her edge because now she's a mother. I'm just curious. Will she? I think that's a fair question to ask. I also think it's a fair question to ask that, like, how much time does Serena Williams now have to dedicate to being a tennis player now that she has a baby? I mean, first off, she's rich. So the baby's going to be fine. But if you actually want to be there for the baby, it's going to be tough. It is. It's going to change. The dynamics of this are absolutely going to change. And I'm curious as to how it is that works. Because we don't worry about this with men. We have an idea that like men are not nearly as maternal. I mean, and they're not. Right? And it's interesting that we don't ever have this conversation with men. Like the idea that like a man could ever love his baby as much as a woman loves her baby. I suppose that we just take for granted that like, no, they don't, which is a little unfair, right? It's a little bit unfair of a direction to take that conversation, which is, what if Roger Federer does love all of his children as much as Serena loves her baby? Like that's not necessarily one of those things where, like you worry about, well, is Roger Federer going to lose his edge? We don't ever worry about this with men. I wonder why, right? Like we know that a bond between a mother and a child is different between a father and a child. Like women are more attached to babies. I mean, you had the baby inside you. Of course you are more attached to the baby. The question is, could that take away from your competitive spirit? I don't think we've ever had this conversation with men, but we've also never been as enamored with a female athlete quite like we have with Serena Williams, because it's not like Serena Williams is the first athlete to have a baby during her playing career, right? I think she's the one we most care about. That's really all it is she's the one we most care about. But by no means is it a situation where we worry about this with men in the same way that we worry about this with women, right? And I just find it interesting, and I wonder why that is. I need to have like some kind of sociologist on my show. I have toyed with that idea, by the way, being the sports show with the unusual guests. I have at this point had a comedian and a musician and a writer on this show. So, and a weather guy. Chip Chapman came on to talk about the Chattanooga, the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. So, I mean, we are the show with the unusual guests. But I just wonder about that, because I think that it doesn't seem, quite frankly, fair to worry about that. Like Serena Williams is suddenly going to have forgotten how to play tennis, though she hasn't played tennis in a very long time. And I think that that's a very fair point to bring up. She hasn't played in a while because you can't. Serena Williams played some tennis last year when she was pregnant, at the beginning of her pregnancy, really early on, but not since, right? She hasn't. So I wonder, she's going to get back into it. Are we going to see Serena at a high level? Is it going to take her a little bit to get going because of the time that she's had off? It's going to be interesting. Like that's actually one of the things when it comes to tennis this summer that I am actually looking forward to. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, noogaradio.com. Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. Keon Rose filling in for Sam Jordan. So we were in fact all over the map. 1 minute left in the show. Something I have been wondering about, and I'll get into this more with Clutch with Keon Rose coming up in a few, you guys. It's the next show up. Saquon Barkley, is he going to be the number 1 overall pick? Because I don't know if you can deny that Saquon Barkley is the best athlete in the draft. And we talk about how the running back position is dying. And yet you've been looking at all of these premier athletes coming out of college, and Leonard Fournette and Todd Gurley and Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook and Kareem Hunt. That's just in the last 2 years. And if you drafted any of those guys high, and all of those guys were drafted very high, then what is Saquon Barkley? Because I think Saquon can be better than all of them. Like, where would you have to take Saquon Barkley? We'll talk about it on Clutch with Keon Rose next.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Chattanooga police say that a woman was gunned down by a female suspect on 13th Street Courts Tuesday. Chattanooga police spokeswoman Eliza Mizal confirmed to the press that the shooting did occur on West 13th Street. They have arrested one suspect. The victim was hospitalized. Deputies in Bradley County are stepping up security. Bradley County Sheriff Eric Watson plans to set up security booths in front of Bradley Central and Walker Valley High Schools, along with marked sheriff's cars around the area. City officials in Chattanooga say that panhandling is a problem. Assistant Attorney Phil Noblett said that a resolution will be before the City Council by next week to deal with panhandling on a more citywide basis. Police Chief David Roddy said his officers have been frustrated because they can't necessarily arrest people in certain areas. Make sure you catch the Sean Hannity Show every weekday from 3 to 6, only on Nooga Radio. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 News. Now.
95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM.
Expect fair to partly cloudy skies to continue through your nighttime. Cold overnight, lows mid and upper 20s. Now for your Wednesday, look for some sunshine with a breeze out of the north, though. Quite cold, highs up around 40 with more mainly dry and cold weather expected through Friday. Celebrate the new year with Dixieland Fireworks, locally owned with the largest selection around. A Black Hat dealer with the lowest prices in Dixie. Dixieland Fireworks, just off I-75 on Ringgold Road, East Ridge. And I'm Storm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. Broadcasting live to over 1 million souls in Chattanooga, the Tennessee Valley, and beyond on frequency modulation 92.7. Sean Hannity, 25,000 watts on Digital FM 95.3 HD4. CBS Radio News. NASCAR, Bloomberg Markets, David Tulis, streaming strong at NoogaRadio.com. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7. Chattanooga Radio.
Your car is broken or about to be, so the problem is, who do you trust? I wouldn't go any farther than Christian Brothers Automotive in Higson. Come in today and take advantage of the new special. It's an oil change with synthetic oil. At $39, that's a steal. Synthetic oil makes your car or truck last longer. Some restrictions apply. At Christian Brothers, a great shop with a 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty. You decide. Free shuttle service, Class A mechanics. Local owner, nice difference. A synthetic oil change, $39. Wow.
Okay, you've got the girl. Now it's time to take it to the next level. The ring. The only place you need to know and go is to Goss Company Jewelers. Not only do they sell retail jewelry, but offer custom jewelry too. You want something unique and personalized? Charlie Goss can do it. Charlie will guide you through the process of finding the perfect ring. Your best girl deserves the ring from the best in the business. Trust Charlie Goss at Goss Company Jewelers, behind Chili's on Gun Barrel.
For years, you have heard these words, cash, 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 and more cash. Now, Rick wants you to buy on U.S. Gold American coins. Are you tired of making 1% on your investments with the banks, even 2 or 3% at best? Well, don't miss out. Stop by Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds at 5301 Brainerd Road in Chattanooga. Buy American. Buy now. Gold is on the rise. Certified U.S. Gold American Eagle coins at Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road in Chattanooga.
Aid a Veteran presents Vet Stock 2, May the 12th, 2018, at the Venue Barn at Kimsey Acres in Cleveland, Tennessee. Live music from 5 bands, Madison Rising, Greg Irwin Band, Steel Horse, Wasted Riffs, and Heist Cold. $10 admission, $15 day of show. Vendors of all kinds. Food and drinks, On 20-plus acres, overnight camping is available. Purchase your tickets before April the 1st and enter the contest to win a free Chattanooga riverboat cruise for 2. Please come out and support our local veterans. Go to www.aidaveteran.com. Doors will open at 12 noon. We will also have a petting zoo for the children until 4 o'clock. Then the event will pop off. That's www.aidaveteran.com.
Truex Jr. is off the pace and he is headed to the pit lane. Elliott Powers around the outside. Michael McDowell pops a right front tire. Here's Martin Truex to the bottom. Blaney blocks him off too. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott went 4 wide on the back straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, 95.3 HD4.
The voice of NASCAR. Charge! WBLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga,
92.7 Digital FM 95.3 HD4
Chattanooga. This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Grasshopper.
I'm Pam Coulter. Members of the Florida State House have given final approval to gun safety legislation promoted by the governor in the wake of the shooting massacre at Parkland Stoneman Douglas High School. CBS's Bill Rakoff has more.
It's called the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act, and it combines several proposals discussed in the wake of last month's shooting. Among those provisions, the bill raises from 18 to 21 the legal age to buy a gun. Requires a 3-day waiting period for most gun purchases, and it provides new mental health programs for schools and a provision to keep guns away from those who show signs of mental illness or violent behavior.
The bill does not include a ban on assault-style weapons. A 17-year-old girl was killed in a shooting at a Birmingham, Alabama high school, and a 17-year-old boy was injured.
A lot of kids were crying. I seen a lot of the teachers had actually came outside to try to console them. The students were actually consoling each other. It was a very horrific scene.
It's not clear if the shooting at the end of the school day was accidental or intentional. Travel conditions are worsening in the snowstorm that's pounding parts of the Northeast and New England. CBS's Chris Van Cleve.
In the New York City area, residents not only got heavy snow, but also experienced thunder snow, which made usually unimpressed New Yorkers take notice.
Following his New York counterpart, Connecticut Governor Dannel Malloy signed an order barring tractor trailers and tandem trailers on state highways to help ease the traffic problems in New York. CBS's David Parkinson.
You can't get through on the roads because there are trees covering the roads. People sat on the Schuylkill Expressway for 2 or 3 hours in Pennsylvania because there were trees down, and that's what's really been causing the problems.
More than 100 congressional Republicans are urging President Trump to abandon his plan to impose tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders.
We expect that the president will sign something by the end of the week, and there are potential carve-outs for Mexico and Canada based on national security.
In Sacramento, protesters took to the streets over the Trump administration immigration crackdown. Attorney General Jeff Sessions in the California Capitol after filing suit to stop the state's efforts to protect people in the country illegally.
We're simply asking the state and other sanctuary jurisdictions to stop actively obstructing federal law enforcement.
The Dow dropped 82 points today, closing at 24,801. NASDAQ was up 24. This is CBS News.
Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. Turn your mobile phone into a business phone system with Grasshopper. See how it works at grasshopper.com.
After a rough day on the range, a feller can get a bit saddle sore. That's why I use Blue Emu Original Super Strength Cream. It works fast and penetrates deep to soothe my tired muscles and joints.
And he don't stink.
And I'll tell you one thing, I had no idea this stuff was so darn handy.
Blue Emu Original Super Strength Cream. Available at all major retailers. It works fast for long-lasting soothing of tired muscles and joints.
And you won't stink.
When hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need to get to a short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Daryl is hired with Indeed.
Using the site saves me a lot of time. It makes my job so much easier.
Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions. Then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive dashboard. Your time is precious. Let Indeed help you get to your short list of qualified candidates. Post a job at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed.
A sports star takes time out to cheer students who survived the Florida school shooting.
Quite a scene at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, as Miami Heat star Dwayne Wade paid a visit. One of the students killed in last month's massacre, Joaquin Oliver, was buried in a Wade jersey, and a few days after his funeral, Wade hit the game-winning shot for the Heat, wearing shoes with Oliver's name etched on them. A student tweets the Wade appearance caused a near stampede in the cafeteria. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
State Democrats are pushing back against a proposal to name a Utah highway after President Trump. State Senator Jim DeBacca said many people might be offended by the idea of honoring the president for his decision to shrink 2 national monuments in the state. He also said he would respond by suggesting that a highway ramp be named for porn star Stormy Daniels, who reportedly had an affair with Mr. Trump. Pam Coulter, CBS News.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Chattanooga police say that a woman was gunned down by a female suspect on 13th Street Courts Tuesday. Chattanooga police spokeswoman Eliza Mizal confirmed to the press that the shooting did occur on West